Hey everyone, this is Phil, and in this video I'm going to show you guys the FangShi ShuangRen 3x3. So how this is going to work is I'm going to show you guys how the cube works on the inside, my first impressions, the performance after lubing and breaking it in, who I think this cube is for, and then I'll end with some pretty basic closing thoughts. So over here right now what I'm going to do is introduce to you guys the naming of this cube and how that works. So the full name of the cube is FangShi ShuangRen. And ShuangRen means frosted blade in Chinese, and we were very excited when we first saw this cube because it's quite an epic name for a cube. I think this is the first cube that's been named after a weapon, and not only is it a blade, but it's a frosted one, so it sounds like it's from a fantasy movie or a video game. So we were very excited to learn that that was the name, and now that we have it, we were very excited to test it out and play with it. This cube in the end turned out to be very, very good, so we were very happy with that. So sit back and enjoy the review. What I'm going to do first is talk about my first impressions. So my first impressions of this cube were kind of mixed. When I first turned it, I felt very surprised because it was very dry and sandy. And you can hear the pieces, they're kind of like rubbing against each other, and there's a lot of contact. And it's definitely a very unique feeling. I'm not sure if it's good or bad. Maybe some people will like it, maybe some people won't. But it's just a very unique feeling, and I think definitely it's kind of an outlier. I don't think any other 3x3s really feel like this. And so it's really interesting. The middle slices especially, because it's rubbing against two pieces, both sides. It's especially sandy. Despite the weird feeling, it definitely corner cuts really well. So this is one of the better cubes. If you just pull out of the box and start playing with it, you'll definitely be more impressed with this cube than many other cubes. So yeah, definitely not a bad cube out of the box. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lube this and break it in and see what happens, and I'll get back to you later. Alright, so let's take a look at the insides first. I opened this cube up already, and let's see the core. The core has these interesting plastic protrusions. I don't know exactly why they're there. It could just be an aesthetic choice. I'm thinking that because it doesn't really contact any plastic, so it doesn't seem to be doing anything functionally, so just make it look cool. This is an edge piece. It's one solid piece of plastic, and you can see there's no torpedo. It's just a crescent shape over here. Instead, if you hold the edge this way, you'll notice these two fat protrusions on the left and the right. And this actually locks against the corner stock, and it makes the cube less poppy. In fact, it does a very good job, and the cube doesn't pop unless you set it at ridiculously loose and unusable tensions. So this is the corner piece. It has a small stock, and I'll show you in a second how the edge fits in. The corner base actually has missing plastic, and you can see through it, so you can see the blue of my stack mat through the corner piece, which is really interesting. And if you get the DIY kit of this ShuangRen, you actually have to stick the corner base through a series of holes near the cubie and twist it to lock it in. It's very interesting and pretty fun to do it. So this is how it looks when they're together. This fat part of the edge locks into the corner like this, and it does not pop. It's very, very stable. So let's take a look at how the edge fits inside. So I'm just going to pull out a few more pieces so I can show you clearly how it works. So the centerpiece is actually has two different stories. You can see here there's a top kind of story here, and there's a bottom story here, and these are actually snapped together when you make this out of a DIY kit. And so what happens is the bottom level of the centerpiece actually locks the edge piece into place, so it's another anti-popping mechanism. And you can see if I hold it like this crescent shape is actually really wide and really big, and it doesn't fit inside unless you kind of sneak it in like this. And even so, it's kind of difficult. And so from this, it does not pop. So that's how the edge fits in, and of course the corner just goes inside like this. And the corner base is also very large, so it's it takes a little effort to fit, but once it's in, it's a very good anti-popping mechanism. So that's pretty much it for the mechanism. Everything else is pretty straightforward. The screws, springs, washers, and centerpieces, and center caps. Let's take a look now at how the cube performs after lubing. Okay, so this cube has been fully lubed. I used some weight 3 on the core, a few drops of weight 3 on the pieces, and some Maru. And this is what it feels like now. It's much quieter, and there's less rubbing on the inside, or at least I feel like there's less rubbing, and it doesn't feel dry and sandy anymore. And to compare, this is a brand new one that I have. It's still very, very dry, and this kind of feeling is an outlier. I don't think other cubes have ever felt like this, but this feels much closer to existing 3x3s. So it's not as strange, the feeling. The corner cutting is really good. It cuts line to line this way, and the small ones are all really easy. It cuts about half a piece the other way. What I did notice is that the backwards corner cutting is a little bit forced. As you saw there previously, the pieces kind of locked up against each other. It'll still go, but the backwards corner cutting seems like it takes a little more effort than the forwards. The forwards is really, really nice. So yeah, be careful with the backwards corner cutting. If you go too ambitious and try too much, you will definitely find the cube reacting kind of harshly. I think this also has to do with tensions. I think if you're tighter, the backwards corner cutting will be a little bit better. And if you're, if the cube is looser, then you might have some issues. This cube is moderate. It's, it's not so loose that I can pull pieces out, nor is it so tight that I can't move it. This is tensions I would use on the speed solve, and I think this cube is very, very practical for speed solving because it doesn't overturn, and lockups are minimal if you're careful. Of course, if I do a lot of repetitive moves, the lockups, it will happen. See if I can find one. If I'm, if I'm rushing, it'll lock up a lot, but if I'm focusing, then the lockups aren't usually an issue. So I think definitely, bottom line on lockups is they happen and they exist. But if you get used to the cube and you focus and you don't turn like outrageously inaccurate, this cube shouldn't give you too much trouble. It cuts M slices really well, and the M slices generally work very well because they don't overturn and they kind of snap into place. So it's pretty nice in the M slice department. And generally, this cube just feels very crunchy, and it's very satisfying to play with. So now that this is over, let's take a look at some recommendations and who should get this cube. Okay, so let's talk about some recommendations. The first type of cuber I'd recommend this cube to is definitely anybody who likes the crunchy and crisp feel on a 3x3. I think this cube really delivers in that aspect. The crunchiness on this cube is unbelievable, and I personally don't use crunchy cubes very much, but I was able to appreciate the crunchiness of this cube because it's just done very well, and this cube is definitely unique. Diane does not make crunchy cubes like this, so if you are missing that crunchy feel in your cubing, you can get it with this FangShi ShuangRen. Alright, so the next thing put on my recommendations list is anybody who just likes to collect 3x3s. I know a lot of people that just like to, stay up to date with all the modern 3x3s and just, get all the 3x3s that are newly produced. This is not something that you should skip. I know there are certain 3x3s that are really bad. They come out and they don't get a lot of attention. This cube is definitely not one of those cubes. It's done very well and it's very high quality. So definitely, if you're interested in just getting 3x3s, this one is one that you should not miss. Otherwise, this cube does not pop, and it's pretty beginner friendly, so you can take it to school, take it to work, and show your friends. It's not going to pop, it's not going to create any awkward situations. So it's a pretty nice all-around cube you can bring with you. And of course, you can always show your friends and coworkers the really interesting mechanism inside. I'm sure it's very different from ordinary 3x3s, so that will impress or surprise them. And so this cube is just very, very solid all around. I think beginners would really like this cube, as well as some experts that have already switched to this cube really like it. There are many, many sub 10 people that use this cube, so I think it's a pretty great cube for everybody. So take a look at your resources, do some research, and definitely consider this cube. Alright, so let's end with some closing thoughts. The first thing I want to say is that I was just really impressed with this cube. This is crunchy, obviously, and I'm not used to crunchy cubes. I don't plan on ever using a crunchy cube in competition, but I still felt this cube was really well done, and when I was breaking it in, my times didn't really suffer. They didn't get any faster, but they didn't get slower either. I think that shows that this cube is really well made, and it still moves well. Despite just having a different feeling. And so I think if you're looking for a crunchy feeling, this cube will definitely deliver because it is very high quality and it's just very different in terms of feel. So I think it moves just as well as, you know, the 3x3s you already have at home that you're very happy with. So the other thing I want to talk about is Funds Puzzle. This company is new. It looks like it's new at least. This is their first puzzle that they come out with, especially I think in the cubing area, it's one of their first ventures. And we're really excited to see what they can come up with in the future because this cube was definitely a really nice product and, you know, it's very good for a first try. We're very excited to see what they can come out with in the future. This cube is definitely has a very unique feel. So we're hoping that they produce more unique cubes to cater to people with different preferences, and hopefully will diversify the 3x3s. I think the ShuangRen has already done that. I don't think, you know, people are just going to switch outright from FangShi to ShuangRen, but I think a significant portion of the people will eventually grow to like this cube, and hopefully that will diversify the 3x3s in the market and be very interesting to see what will happen in the future. So I'd like to take the time now to thank you guys for watching, and hope to see you guys in next video. What I'm going to do after is do some solves, and we'll see how this cube actually works when it's in action. So thank you again, and let's enjoy some solves.